Hello everyone, my name is Anna and I'm the Education Events and Volunteer Coordinator here at Dundas Museum and Archives. Now normally at this time of year we would be gearing up to have our Scotch tasting. We would be toasting the haggis and having a dram of Scotch. But unfortunately, of course, that's not possible this year, but we wanted to recognize this special occasion all the same. Now, every Robbie Burns Day here at the Dundas Museum and Archives, we like to take the opportunity to pull out some of our very favorite artifacts that are Scottish or Burns related. And so we've decided to continue in that spirit and bring some of the artifacts out today. We have 5 different artifacts that we're going to be displaying today. We're going to go through them one at a time and talk a little bit about them. If you have questions, please type them in to the comments and we will be keeping an eye on that to answer any questions you might have about these artifacts. So without any further ado, let's dive on in and start talking about our first artifact. It's very obvious why both of these artifacts are favorites to bring out around Robbie Burns Day. Both of these objects depict Burns, but significantly are items that would have been mass-produced and therefore available to the general public. The item on the right is a wall plaque commemorating Robert Burns and was donated to the museum in 1974. It features Robert Burns surrounded by thistles. On the left, we have a Parian bust of Robert Burns, which was donated to the museum in 1986. It's a type of biscuit porcelain that was made to imitate marble and was developed in 1845 in Staffordshire. Parian was designed to imitate carved marble, but could be prepared in liquid form and cast in a mold, enabling mass production. Some companies produced items known as statuary porcelain, and initially it was used for relatively high-quality work, but later was produced by many manufacturers, sometimes decreasing the quality. These types of objects indicate the continued love and appreciation of Burns in North America and the United Kingdom. They're both inexpensive but made to look very high quality, and the average person could afford to own it, and indicates the significance of Burns in households of the Scottish diaspora. This tea set is from circa 1896 and was donated to the museum in 1985. This tea set is in the blue willow pattern that was made by Spode. On the bottom is printed Spode, Copeland's, China, England, Tiffany & Co., New York. Our entire set consists of 4 dessert plates, 4 cups with gold handles, 4 saucers with gold trim, and 1 covered sugar bowl with a hexagon opening and lid, with gold handles on the bowl and lid. Around the outside of the hexagon and around the outside of the rim of this cup is printed, "We'll take a cup, o kindness yet, for days, o old lang syne." This unusual artifact is one of our favorites to bring out around Robbie Burns Day. This is a badger sporan. It's a sporan that has been trimmed with a badger's head, and it was worn during World War I by Major F.H. Rutherford. It also came with the kilt, which is trimmed with green embroidery and green ribbon rosettes, and it was also worn during the First World War. The pattern is a version of the black watch pattern, and both of these items, together with a number of other textiles that came in with the same donation, would have been part of the officer's dress of the Argyll and Sutherland Highlanders of Canada, Princess Louise's. The Argyll and Sutherland Highlanders of Canada have been active since 1903 to the present day. They're a primary reserve Highland Infantry regiment of the Canadian Forces, and they're based at John W. Foote VC Armory in Hamilton. The kilt and the sporan are symbols of a tradition rooted in Canadian military history, the Highland Regiment. After the Battle of Culloden and following the Highland clearances, British North America became a favored destination of the Scottish diaspora, and Dundas and Hamilton had large Scottish populations in the 1800s. During the Romantic Age, the image of the Highlander moved to a focus of an emerging Scottish cultural identity, thanks in great part to Robert Burns. There were many local and national initiatives for Scottish Canadians to demonstrate their culture during the Victorian era. With this focus on the emerging Scottish Canadian identity, lobbies began across Canada for kilted regiments with pipe bands. In Hamilton, a number of local clan and Scottish societies, led by the St. Andrew's Society and the Sons of Scotland, lobbied the Canadian government to create such a regiment. The initiative worked, and the regiment was gazetted on the 16th of September 1903 as the 91st Canadian Highlanders. During the First World War, the regiment acted as a training unit, and members served in the 16th, 19th, and 173rd Highlanders overseas. Major Rutherford, who owned this badger sporran and kilt, belonged to the 173rd Highlanders and served both in the South African War and the First World War. Click the links below to find out more information about Major F.H. Rutherford and the history of the Argyll and Sutherland Highlanders of Canada. One of the most precious items in the museum's collection is this snuff box, which was owned by Robbie Burns himself. This very special object was donated to the museum in 1962 by the St. Andrew's Society of Dundas after they had disbanded. The lid of the snuff box reads Robert Burns to John Sim. Robert Burns gave it to John Sim, who was a very close friend of Burns. The names that have been etched in silver along the top opening of the snuff box indicate the line of succession who owned the box following the gift to John Sim. William J. Sim was the son of John Sim. William was married to Lilia Stagg Babington, sister of J. M. Babington, Josiah Marshall Babington, who was a prominent figure in early Dundas. J. M. Babington gave the box to the St. Andrew's Society, likely following the death of his sister. While we don't know if this is Robert Burns' personal snuff box or a gift that he purchased to give to John Sim, we do know that at one point it was owned by Robert Burns and was a treasured item in the Sim family. Today, we treasure it here at the Dundas Museum and Archives.